It's time for us to talk about row-level security, the security feature offered by Postgres to allow the usage or the access of our database. Essentially, it means that the user has to configure all the access by writing security policies to all the tables that are created, to all the rows of our tables. For example, an administrator can create a policy to allow access to the table to everybody, but to restrict actually to write on this table or to delete some elements. On the official documentation of PostgreSQL, we have more information about row security policies. And I'm not going to read the whole article. You can find it on postgresql.org. However, we have some interesting text here that we can read together. In addition to the SQL standard privilege system available through Grant, tables can have row security policies that restrict, on a per-user basis, which rows can be returned by normal queries by inserted, updated, or deleted by data modification commands. This feature is also known as row-level security. By default, and this is the case on the table that we created, tables do not have any policies. So let's get back to our tables there, and we can click here on clients, for instance, and we can click here on orders. So right now we've got one order, and of course those orders, they could not be fetched by a user that is not authenticated, and it could not be fetched by somebody else than the user that wants to fetch it. So to write my first row level policy, what I can do is either to click here on no active RLS policies, either going here on authentication and go on policies. And here we got the list of the tables, and we've got the option concerning row level security. Again, if you want to have more information, you can either click here on the row level security button that we have here. What is row level security? And you got more explanation here on the official documentation of Supabase. Here we've got the clients, we've got the orders. Okay, so let's create a new policy because for now we want to restrict the access. So when you click on new policy, you can do two things. You can use actually the templates provided by Supabase, and this is very useful for the people who don't know anything about SQL. Or you can click on full customization to create a policy from scratch. So I'm going to click on this at first. And here we see that we have a form again, and we can enter the policy's name. We can click here on select, insert, update, delete all to select actually which is the operation that you want to do. And you can also target the roles. So we can see here, and we discover now that in Supabase, every user can have a role that we can define. Okay, so here we've got Anon. So Anon, we understand it's for anybody actually. Authenticated, it will be for people authenticated through the authentication system. And after you got other roles, etc., etc. And down there, you can provide a SQL condition expression that returns the Boolean. All right, so if you know SQL, it will be very easy for you to create your policy through here. But if you click here on View Template, okay, there you can have 4 templates for now on creating policies. So for actually, we are looking right now on the clients. And on the template, we see that here we've got one template that says enable read access to everyone. So here we got the SQL template that gives this policy, and it will enable the read access to everyone. It says create policy name. So here you're supposed to have the name of your policy, which will be actually enable read access to everyone. On public, which is the schema. Actually, we are on the schema public, and we created our tables on the schema public. Dot clients, which is the name of the table. For select using with the condition true, which means that anybody is able to select, so to read, every element of clients. So if you want to do that, you click on use this template, and you will actually release your table clients to the read of anybody. It's like the anon condition. That's something we don't want to do on the clients. Then we have enable insert access for authenticated user only. So here we've got another SQL query, and we can see that this policy gives insert access to your table to all authenticated user only. So it will create the policy again on the table clients for insert to authenticated, which is the role, okay, with check true. So we want to use this one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on use this template, and suddenly I'm getting back to the form of the full customization, and it's totally fulfilled. And we can see here, okay, we can see that actually what's happening is that it has fulfilled the old form with the insert authenticated role with a condition which is true. So I'm going to click on review. Finally, I'm reviewing the policy to be created on publics.clients. And there we go. I got my policy. And if I click on save policy, here we see that I got one policy on client which concerns insert on authenticated. So right now, you can insert clients only if you are authenticated. All right, we want to do the same with order. So what I can do is to click on here on get started, and I can do exactly the same because it's a template. So now on order, it will be only for people authenticated. Okay. However, this is a problem what I'm doing now, because I'm not sure that I want to create orders directly here like this way. The thing is that I would like to have later a trigger that will create an order automatically. For this course, I'm just going to click on review and save this policy because I just want to show you the example on how to add an order directly this way from the front end. But normally I wouldn't do this way. I would use a trigger to do it. There we go. So now we've got the clients, we've got the order, and we've got our two policies. And in the future, as much tables you will have to write all the time the policies concerning those tables. And you have to be really careful on that, guys, because you have to really deal with the fact that sometimes if you do mistakes, your tables could be public, and you don't want that. So let's pretend that now I want to give access to everybody. I want to give access to everybody to my clients. So if I do it, okay, now anybody that could connect to the database would have to select publicly all the clients. He will be able to read all the clients. However, this is something that I don't want to have. So I want to delete, and I'm going to click here, and I'm going to click on delete. You can, of course, delete your policies. That's really, really important. So that's good. But the thing is that I don't want that everybody could read the clients. I just want some people to do it. So I'm going to click again. And of course, I didn't tell you, but also what you have to do is to deal with the update and the delete access to the element. So here I'm supposed to add clients through an application. So I want to update them. Maybe I will have a button to click and click on modify exactly like I did before. So if I click here, I should add this condition. And we can see that on the auth GWT, I got this condition which is using expression. That's so cool. That's what I want to do. I want to update with only the email actually that is related to the current actually element. So we enable the update for users based on email. Okay, I'm going to save this and I'm going to add this policy. And of course, you can add as much policies as you want. I'm going to continue, and I want also to delete. Actually the clients that I can have. And here we see that we got something else. We got this condition, auth UID is equal to user underscore ID. So I'm going to keep this using this expression there, and I'm going to review and save the policy. And here I got a problem because I don't get actually the colon user ID on my clients. So I'm going to close this. I'm going to get back. I'm going to go on the table editor on clients. And here, as I see, I don't get user ID. And that is a problem that I didn't solve at first, is that many users will add their clients in the client's database, but they are not related to a specific user ID. So what I can do here is to add actually a colon, user ID. And this user ID will be actually the owner's ID of the client. Okay, so what I can do there is to say it's going to be a UUID. And what is going to be this user ID? Well, I think it's going to be the user ID of the authenticated user. So I'm going to save this. I don't allow nullable, and I don't allow is unique because I can have several clients. I'm going to save that. And suddenly I have a problem because I'm supposed to have at least, one user ID in the column. And we see that right now it's null for a lot of them. So for now, I'm clicking on allow nullable and it's going to work. And there we go. But what I should do is to fulfill the right user ID of those two clients, which would be mine. However, I don't have for now. So I'm just going to delete those two rows and I'm going to just come back after. And when I will add a new client, I would need this user ID. To change my table, I can go on database, and on tables, I go to clients. Okay, so here I get clients. I can click here on 5 columns, and I got my user ID there, and I'm going to click here, and this time I'm going to remove allow nullable because in the future, I really want this user ID. Okay, so I got my user ID, and now I can come back to write my policy. Back in the policy, I'm going to click here, new policy. And what I want to do actually is to go here, and the access that I had before, it's this delete template. So I'm going to use it, but I'm not going to use it as delete. I'm going to use it actually to select. Enable select for user based on user ID. And actually here it's going to be authenticated, Every time I'm going to select clients from the table client, it has to be related with my user ID. What does it mean? It means simply that our table clients will be full of different clients coming from you, from me, from anybody. But it's not possible that I can fetch your clients. We want that you can fetch only your clients, and me, I'm fetching only my clients. So what we do, we enable the select for clients, so it's not users, based on user ID. So I'm going to select the clients only on my user ID, on authenticated, and this auth.uid function will come actually from the authenticated session that we will have. And then I'm going to click on save policy. And there we go. I got everything that I need for clients. I should do exactly the same for others, but I think you understood by this quick exercise that you have to work on row-level security if you want to secure your database, if you want to secure your Supabase instance, and especially on tables where you don't want the public to get access on. Later, we will see that if you get an API, you can have a certain role to get all the access to all databases, because here in this case, we don't want our user to get access and to create orders. We would like to have a trigger or an API to do it. The row-level security help the administrator to create policies to secure your Supabase database.